All right. Catching up here with Carolyn Bick of the South Seattle Emerald. How are you?
I am all right. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Every time I talk to you, it's something investigative, and it's usually city government, and a lot of times it's the police or the ecosystem around the police. And looks like here we've got an article that you've written in the South Seattle Emerald, and it says that the city of Seattle has hired an outside firm to investigate the former OPA director. That would be Myerberg. Tell us about it.
Correct. Yes. The the city at some point between July 2021 and October 2021 hired an outside firm called Seafarth Shaw to investigate former OPA Director Andrew Myerberg. For background, Andrew Myerberg is now the Director of Public Safety, which is a completely new position created under Mayor Bruce Harrell. And the firm is principally investigating, from what I understand, the allegation that Myerberg illegally obtained and distributed somebody's private medical information. I and other folks wrote about the incident in which this person was injured during a protest. The police claim that she was not um, injured, and so does the OPA claim that she was not. It's not clear whether the flashbang she took directly to the chest caused her to go into cardiac arrest. And in the still public case closed summary, Andrew Myerberg argues that it could have been the alcohol level in her blood. And he allegedly, made this diagnosis, not being a doctor, but being a lawyer instead, by looking at the Mayo Clinic website.
So, are you saying then that former OPA director Myerberg, who's now in the mayor's cabinet, but basically there's an outside firm that's investigating because there's an allegation that he illegally obtained someone's medical history and then also disseminated that information and his findings uh, to the public. And so now it's under investigation.
Correct. So this again, these are allegations, but it is again alleged that he principally that he should not have, or that he illegally distributed the medical information and potentially also illegally obtained it, although it appears that that it was force investigation team officers who may have illegally obtained and then passed that information on to Myerberg, because none of this was done with this person's consent. And so, as I mentioned, this outside firm called Seafarth Shaw, which is actually a really big old firm, is doing this investigation. And I also wanted to make sure to disclose that I was also contacted by this exact same firm on February 23rd, 2020, to provide an investigatory interview, which I did decline because that would obviously then ethically compromise me and not allow me to write the story.
So I guess just to even put it in more of basic terms here, I mean, the kind of allegation is that Meyerberg went and made a whole case finding here and used in this case finding used someone's medical information that he didn't have permission to use, and then also put that medical information out there to the general public in a closed case summary. And in doing so, also he made an assessment based on his professional capacity. He made a medical determination in the closed case summary where he said, "Oh, this person might have consumed something or everything else," but that's not his core competency. His core competency is in being a lawyer and not a doctor.
Correct. And I'd also like to point out that this is the exact same lawyer who decided that he was not qualified to make a legal judgment regarding whether officers committed some sort of voter fraud or broke the law in some way by registering their police precincts as their voting addresses, which is illegal. It is actually, I believe it would be considered a Class C felony, which I think is a fine of up to $10,000. But he decided that he couldn't make that judgment. But he did decide that he could make a medical one.
Wow. What are the next steps here when this? I mean, you're waiting for this law firm to finish their investigation, and then, like, I mean, is there any are are they investigating to where something could be like an actual criminal charge? Is this some civil thing? Is this an ethics thing?
It is completely unclear. I can't exactly get into all the windy details here. The story actually is a better way to go about that. So if people are watching or listening, I definitely encourage them to read the story, because this time, and this is an effort we're going to continue, we have a diagram trying to help people unwind all of this, because it's really complicated and completely unclear even to the lawyer who made this initial complaint about Myerberg, that then went from the OIG to Human Resources to the Seattle City Attorney's Office to this outside firm. It's a whole winding path. I unfortunately, given this particular format, I can't really detail it here. Otherwise, we'd be here for quite some time. Um, but at the end of the day, it's really unclear what even is happening and whether anything will come of it, especially because Mayor Bruce Harrell refuses to answer any of my emails or phone calls.
Mm. So you've been communicating with the mayor's office and haven't got any
Oh, it's
response.
been a one-way communication.
You've been one way communicating with the mayor's office and haven't
Correct.
gotten any response. My friend, let me ask you this, Carolyn. And I know, I mean, you stay away a lot from opinion, and yeah, and you're really big into the facts and in your investigative reporting. Um, but why should people in Seattle? Why should people care? Why should people care? Ah, this guy found a medical record. He, what I'm saying, he did this, passed it on. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's the big deal?
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, first of all, you got to consider the fact that somehow officers got a hold of medical records that this person did not consent to have disclosed, and that in of itself is a pretty big deal. There are medical privacy laws both at the national and the state level in place, so that people's medical histories, which rightly should remain their own, are protected. And that was not at all enforced in this case by the actual law enforcement. It appears, it is alleged. And so people should care, because if it appears anyway that if police want to get a hold of your medical records and can jimmy up some sort of reason to do so, they very well might be able to, if this allegation is true. And that's kind of unsettling, because then you basically that's a whole swath of your personal life taken away.